Mary Bell committed two dreadful murders, but her case does give us hope that children can change.
Mary Bell, a 11-year-old girl, sentences for 12 years in prison for taking the life of Martin Brown and Brian Howe. Welcome back to our channel, The Crime Lane, where we unfold some of the most horrifying crimes ever committed. Before moving on, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, hit the bell icon to stay updated on all our future videos. In 1968, Mary Bell shocked the world when, at the age of 10, she committed the unthinkable act of strangling 4-year-old Martin Brown in Newcastle, England, leaving behind chilling confession notes. She sent waves of terror through the community. Just 2 months later, she struck again, this time claiming the life of 3-year-old Brian Howe, leaving a trail of horror and devastation in her wake. Mary Bell, despite her youth, had to bear every bit of justice after receiving a life sentence for her horrible crimes. She was surprisingly freed after just 12 years, withdrawing into solitude in an attempt to put her troubled past behind her. But what made her do these horrible crimes? Mary Bell was born on May 26, 1957, to 16-year-old sex worker Betty McCricket, who allegedly asked doctors to take that thing away from me as soon as she saw her daughter. From that point on, things became worse. McCricket frequently traveled to Glasgow for business reasons, but the little Mary, who suffered from emotional and physical abuse while her mother was around, found some relief during her absences. When McCricket's sister saw her attempting to give Mary away to a woman who had been trying in vain to adopt a child, the sister quickly took Mary back for herself. Mary also had an odd tendency to have accidents. She accidentally overdosed on sleeping drugs once, and once fell from a window. Some consider the incidents an attempt at Betty's want to get rid of her problems, while others interpret them as a proxy for Munchausen syndrome. Betty longed for the compassion and attention her daughter's accidents provided her. Later testimonies from Mary Bell herself claim that her mother started using her for sex labor when she was only 4 years old. However, other family members have not confirmed this. After everything that had occurred, they were not surprised that Mary Bell had turned into an odd child by the time she was 10 years old. She was distant, manipulative, and constantly on the verge of violence. However, they were unaware of a lot of things. Before she committed her first murder, Mary Bell had been acting strangely for weeks. Mary was playing with a 3-year-old boy on May 11, 1968, when he suffered serious injuries after falling from the top of an air raid shelter. The boy's parents believed it was an accident. Mary tried to choke 3 little girls, according to their moms, who came forward to report the incident to the police the next day. There was a brief police questioning as well as a lecture, but no formal charges were filed. Then, on May 25th, the day before her 11th birthday, Mary Bell killed Martin Brown, age 4, by choking him in an empty house in Scotswood, England. After leaving the scene, she went back with her friend Norma Bell, who was not related to her, to discover that 2 neighboring boys who had been playing in the house had reached their first. The police were confused. There were no obvious signs of violence other than some blood and saliva on the victim's face. However, a bottle of empty pills was found on the ground close to the body. Police believed Martin Brown had swallowed the pills as they had no other leads. His death was declared to be an accident. Shortly afterward, Mary and her friend Norma trespassed into a nursery school, damaging it with notes claiming responsibility for Martin Brown's death and threatening further harm. Mary and Norma were both caught at the school a few nights later, but they got away with it because when the police came, they were just hanging around outside. 2 months after the initial murder, on July 31st, Brian Howe, age 3, was strangled to death by Mary Bell and her friend Norma. Bell used scissors to mutilate the body further, cutting his genitals and scraping his thighs. Norma stated he wouldn't be present. The neighborhood went into shock when Brian's body was eventually found because 2 little boys were now dead. In the hopes that someone would have seen something that would lead to a suspect, police interacted with the young kids. They were stunned to see the coroner's report, which showed that someone had used a razor blade to cut the letter M from Brian's torso, leaving new markings on his chest as the blood cooled. Another disturbing detail was that the attacker's lack of power raised the possibility that Brian's killer was a child. During their police interviews, Mary and Norma did a terrible job of hiding their involvement in the murder. Particularly after the police revealed that she had been seen with Brian Howe the day before he passed away, Norma became excited, but Mary was reluctant. Mary was observed lingering outside Brian's house on the day of his burial. When she saw his coffin, she even giggled and rubbed her hands together. When Mary was contacted again for an interview, she formed a tale about witnessing an 8-year-old kid strike Brian on the day of his death, possibly sensing that the investigators were getting close. She mentioned that the boy had been holding a broken pair of scissors. That was Mary Bell's fatal mistake. The public and media had not been informed that the body had been cut with scissors. Only detectives and Brian's killer were aware of this particular detail. When questioned further, Norma and Mary both lost it. Norma started assisting the police and accusing Mary, who acknowledged witnessing Brian Howe's murder but attempted to pin the blame on Norma. A trial date was set for both girls after they were charged. As the trial unfolded, the courtroom was gripped by the horrifying details of Mary's upbringing. Born to a teenage mother who struggled with addiction and violence, Mary's early years were marked by neglect and abuse. She was exposed to a world of cruelty and instability, her innocence stripped away long before she committed the unspeakable acts that would define her life. Mary Bell killed people solely for the pleasure and excitement of killing, the prosecutor told the court during the trial. In the meantime, the child killer was labeled as evil born by the British media. But Mary's case took a little turn. In December, the jury delivered a guilty judgment, finding Mary Bell guilty of the killings. Since Mary Bell displayed classic symptoms of psychopathy and could not be held entirely accountable for her acts, the jury found her guilty of manslaughter rather than murder. It was believed that Norma Bell was an unwilling collaborator who had been influenced negatively. She was found not guilty. Following 12 years of therapy and recovery, Mary Bell was released in 1980. She was set free on a permit, which meant that although she was technically still serving her sentence, she could do so while living in the community and under strict supervision. To offer Mary Bell a second start at life and shield her from tabloid attention, a new identity was given to her. She had to relocate multiple times to be harassed by tabloids, newspapers, and the public, who always managed to find a way to find her. As of now, Mary Bell is being held under guard at a secret location. She and her daughter are both protected by a court order and maintain their privacy. Some people believe she doesn't deserve safety. Martin Brown's mother, June Richardson, stated to the press, "It's all about her and how she has to be protected. We do not have the same rights as murderers. Do you think Mary deserves the punishment she got, or she deserves something worse? Let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to see more interesting stories like these. Till then, stay tuned."